So today is E36 day. The old girl is back on the channel finally after a long time. This is my BMW E36 328i that I rescued from a car graveyard, and we spent a lot of time and money bringing it back to its former glory. But a project car is never finished, so I'm using eBay Assured Fit to pick up a few parts and upgrades to continue the build. Also, whilst I was there, I grabbed a few cleaning products from their current spring deal, so we can give it a clean later on, but more on that in a bit. But a couple of days later, everything that I had ordered has arrived. So what is one of the most important things on a car, and also a really common issue for E36s?
Cooling.
Yes.
So as you guys know, this thing was abandoned for a few years, so I have no idea the last time it had a coolant change. Also, one common thing on these is the actual tanks here, the expansion tanks. They get old, brittle, and go yellow and just crack, and this is not looking too great, so it definitely needs a change. Also, I don't even know if that's got coolant in there. It's just a rusty, orange, gooey mess, so yeah, not good. And the front of the radiator, which you'll probably not be able to see, is just peppered in stone chips and just looks very old.
And here is the solution, a brand new radiator with expansion tank. And to find this radiator, I used eBay Assured Fit, which is a helpful and simple way to make sure you order the correct parts for your vehicles. Simply add your registration to the My Garage section on eBay, and then search the categories or exactly what you're after via the search bar. You can also search on the main page and then select your vehicle, and it will list all the correct parts. As you can see, I've got all my vehicles saved, which is really handy. And the best part is they offer a 30-day money back guarantee for your peace of mind. But before we get it installed, I want to go ahead and do a couple of coolant flushes with the old radiator in place, because I don't really want to be installing a brand new radiator and then flushing all the old coolant through it. So when you're trying to bleed E36 cooling systems, it's quite easy to get an airlock in the heater matrix, and that is because the heater matrix is actually higher than the expansion tank. So a way around this is to jack up the front of the car. This will also give us a lot more room to drain all the old coolant out.
It's not what coolant should look like.
No. With the radiator drained, it's time to remove the remaining coolant from the engine block, which went well.
It's going on my arm. It's going on my arm.
Ah, yes. Oh, I knew that was going to be bad. Oh dear.
Got out there.
Brilliant. With the entire cooling system all drained, it's time to put the drain plugs back in and fill it up with deionized water. Now this stuff is a lot safer than using standard water because it stops the corrosion within the whole cooling system, and it's just good practice to use this. And yes, we're just using this to flush it for the moment, and we will replace it with coolant a little bit later on. We then left the car running, which in theory should allow it to bleed itself. But we ran into a problem. You'll never guess what's happened. It is dead. The alternator, I've had a feeling for a while, because I've had a battery light on the dash, that this alternator is either on its way out or dead. And obviously we've had it running for 20 minutes and it has died. But this wasn't going to stop us, so we called him back up. And I'm just hoping that this car can provide enough power to power the E36. Okay, so using the other car as power has actually worked, and the car is now all bled, and the temperature's staying the same, so I think we're all good to go. So what we're going to do, because I don't want to drain this for the minute because it's going to just burn my skin, we're going to let it cool down and we're going to get on with a few other bits. And the next thing I want to look at is this intake. Now, this is extremely old. When I mean old, I think it's like 5+ years at least. Now, it is, back in the day, it was a nice carbon one, and I'm sure it was great. And there used to be an old pipe that used to go from here, and then it was connected to in there. With this intake, it's not just as simple as just putting a new standard box in, because I kind of want to run either a standard intake or just literally just a new comb filter in there. I think a standard intake would be better for like heat, what's it called?
Heat soak.
Heat soak, that's the right word, heat soak. But the problem is, this, right, is aftermarket, but there's this extra pipe on the side which goes up into this here. It's zip tied down in there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Yeah, it's connected in here where my finger is there. I don't know exactly what the job of that is, and I don't think the standard box has got that connector. I'm not entirely sure. And also, because this is so old, if you look in there, look at the state of that. That is, if I grab some of it out, look, it's just like the most disgusting, gritty foam. It's disgusting. So I think that's part of the reason as to why this is not running that great, because everything else has been done. Done fuel filter, oil change, spark plugs, the lot. So the last few times I've driven the car, I've had a few running issues. Sometimes it will go into some sort of limp mode and it feels very underpowered, and sometimes I can come up to a traffic light, bring the car to a stop, and then the car just cuts out. And sometimes it will also cut out if it's just sat there idling. It almost feels as if it's struggling for either fuel or air. Good. Look at how caked up that is in there. That is absolutely awful. That is covered, I don't even know. Ah, yeah, that's not good. The filter's actually broke.
Oh, that'll do it.
Look at that, it's just like, and look in here, look at the intake pipe. Can you even see? Look at that. Oh no. Yeah, that's not good. Look at the throttle actuator. She is dirty. Oof. Okay, so we've cleaned up the throttle body. I've also cleaned up this like little inlet pipe, I'm assuming. Then we've fitted the new mass airflow sensor and it is running absolutely fine. Now what I'm gonna do for the minute is I'm just gonna put a glove over the mass airflow sensor so no rubbish can get up there. I'm just gonna leave that like that until we work out what this is. Like, what is this here that was going into the intake that, to be fair, looks like that is probably where all the rubbish was coming from potentially. But it comes out of here, then goes around to here. And I know that's not a factory thing. Well, I don't think it is anyway. It doesn't look very factory. But I'm just going to leave that like that for the minute until we work out the intake situation. So it definitely seems as if the mass airflow sensor and the intake have had its day. And the first mod is a front, have you guessed it yet? Strut race. Look at that. Okay, so you see these strut towers here, these are quite common. I believe on E36s to like rot and like, not collapse, but sort of, well, collapse. Now what you can actually do is you can buy these reinforcement plates which you actually weld onto the strut tower. So what I think I'm gonna do is when I get it painted, I'm gonna sand all this down, I'm then gonna buy the plates, get it welded on, and then get it painted. And then probably I'll also get the strut base powder coated in the actual paint code. I think that'd be pretty cool. That actually looks really good, and there's nothing better than a nice easy mod. And I'm interested to see if this actually makes a difference because it is a solid strut brace as well. Do you know what I mean? It is actually mounted and it is solid rather than some of the ones you see online with it. They're just like nut and bolted here. But yeah, this is not going anywhere. And it looks cool as well. It looks really, really cool. So one thing that's really bugged me with my E36 ever since I bought it is the fitment on the wheels. Like, look at the gap. Like, yeah, it needs to have a little bit of gap because obviously you don't want it rubbing on the arches, especially under compressions and whatnot. But in here, I've got a set of locking wheel nuts. We have got extended bolts, which is quite nice because those bolts are disgusting and rusty and not good. We've got a full set of hub-centric spacers. So 10mm for the rear, which I think will sit absolutely perfect. And then I've got 15 for the front. Now, the fronts have already got 5mm on them because they need to have 5mm to clear the shocks to save the tyres from rubbing. But I reckon another 10mm on that and it will be, I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, but it'll be a lot better. But I don't want it to be stuck up too much because, as I said, I don't want it rubbing. That is one thing you do not want. So, yeah, set spacers, let's get them fitted. So before installing new spacers, you should always wire brush the hub, just so the spacer sits perfectly flush on the disc. And this is to avoid any sort of wheel vibration, and potentially stop your wheel from falling off. And we're not going to see the full proper fitment until we get the wheels aligned, but it's already looking so much better, and the front are still tucked enough so they're not going to rub.
Okay, it's now the next morning. I've let the car's coolant obviously cool down overnight so I can drain it again and do another flush in a minute. But the spacers are now fitted. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but that looks so much better. I have noticed that the wheels stick in more this side than they do that side. Now, I was a bit worried as to what was going on. However, I think it's because of the wing alignment. Because we just shoved them on in a video a long time ago, this wing is further in. If you look at the way the lights are there, than this one. See, there's a bigger gap on here, so it means the wing needs to go further in. So yeah, that's why. I think it's the actual panel gaps on the wings that's obviously, which is making them different. But the rear fitment is amazing. I'm just hoping that doesn't scrub. I don't think it will, and I need the tracking done anyway because it is towing in quite a lot. But yeah, looking good.
And with the cooling system cooled down, we can finally drain it. And the idea with this is to just keep filling it up with distilled water, bleeding it, draining it all, and then repeating it. Just to try and clear out the whole system and get rid of any contaminants and just rubbish in the system in general before we put in some nice fresh coolant. But that liquid is looking so much better already. So after flushing it a few times, it's time to remove the old radiator. And on BMW E36s, this is extremely easy. First up, we need to remove this front cover. Undo all the Jubilee clips on the hoses, I believe there's 3 of them. Unplug a sensor, disconnect the viscous fan surround. This doesn't actually need to be removed, it just needs to be pushed out of the way so we can get the radiator past it. And then finally the 2 clips which are holding it in place. And with all that disconnected, it just pulls out. As simple as that. And now seeing this, I'm so glad we're replacing it. The new one looks so much better. And what I'm doing here is just transferring over a few of the sensors from the old one to the new one. And look at the state of this level sensor. That is disgusting.
Oh, that's not good, Brev.
Oh. That's broke. So annoyingly, the level sensor for the coolant has broke. It's obviously very old and brittle, and look how dirty that is. And I've given it a clean as well, and it's still looking that bad. So I'm gonna have to order another one, but it doesn't affect us getting this fitted at least. So I can get it fitted, and luckily I can access this from the bottom of the radiator pretty easily. So we're just gonna have to install it and then not run it up to temperature until we get it filled with coolant. So to install the new one, it's just the same process in reverse. And just like that, the new radiator is installed. I think this whole job took me 15 minutes maybe. If that, it's a shame that the sensors broke because it means we can't top it up with coolant, which of course I got from eBay. We've got 15 litres of it because apparently the full system takes 10.5 litres, and I wanted a bit of spare just in case. But yeah, I can't fill it up, which is really annoying. But it is what it is. Luckily it's an easy job to just go underneath and swap it out. But so I'll get that level sensor ordered and then I can fill it up with coolant. So this is the part of the video that everyone seems to love. Everyone loves seeing a car being cleaned. Now this isn't too dirty, but it's definitely got a load of dust on it. So let's use all the products that I got from the spring deal and spruce it up a little bit and make it look good. So the products I'm using to clean the car are from eBay's current spring car care deal. But make sure you're quick because the offer ends on the 31st of July. But for now, let's test out these Goodyear products. Have you guys ever used these before? Because I definitely haven't. And if I'm honest, I was pretty impressed. But let me know down below if you've used them. With the bodywork snow foamed and had a contact wash, it's time to move on to the wheels. And the car's already looking really good, so let's get it dry and then we can do a few last final touches. So there we go, the car is now all clean and looking really good, and also we fixed a few of the problems. I just need to buy that sensor so we can actually fill it with coolant, then it should be all good. Find an intake as well, but nice few fixes, a nice few modifications as well, and it's slowly coming along. As I said before, I'm in no rush to sell this thing. It's like a long project that I'm probably going to keep for a long time. And this is your final reminder to go buy your next car parts using eBay Assured Fit, and also make sure you check out the Spring Car Care deal, which ends on the 31st of July.